That's right. It's Saturday. Good morning. You've got the right day. It is not Sunday. I'll tell you that now. Today is the first Saturday sit in, or what is it? What am I calling this? Yeah, Saturday sit down. I don't even know the name of my own show. What are you going to do? But today, I have James Burrows, 1/3 of Ready Set Keto. I said 1/3. I said what I said. We're going to bring him over. We're going to talk to him. Cindy's already here. She's been up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed since 4 a.m., I think, but we'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and bring my good friend James on here. James, how are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing great. And you know what? I do have to correct you because due to the physical statures, I think I'm probably 3/5.
I was just saying, I was taking into account like you, Emily, and Noah.
Oh, you're right. Well, then I don't know what I am. It's too early.
It's too early for math. Chris and Anna are here from Partners in Ketosis.
Hi.
All right. So what's been going on with you? Anything you guys, so you're stopped doing, well, at least for right now, you've kind of put a halt on your Thursday live stream because you're doing some cool stuff with your church, doing choir and all that.
I am.
How is that going? How was that first one, or is that not the first one?
Okay, so I haven't done the first one yet, but I have a meeting Sunday and then it starts after that. So that's why I had to make, do. And since we came out and we're like, well, we're not going to do one. It was kind of like Thursday. It was kind of like, if we do one, will anyone even show up now? So that's why we didn't Thursday. But anyway, and it's confusing too. Another reason why we didn't do it Thursday. We don't want to be confusing and say, oh, we're on, off, on. You know what I mean? It's just too much. We've tried to be consistent, which is why we went from Friday to Thursday to begin with, because there's so many more events that come up on Friday night than there are Thursday. So we were, getting canceled. And then all of a sudden Emily's work schedule went a little chaotic and we found ourselves being a little inconsistent. So we would like to find a night, you know what I mean? And another thing I'm tossing around, I haven't really discussed yet with Emily, because we do like taping our food, right? We like doing our little every day when we go in and what we eat. We like to show that, right? Well, if we're doing that 6 and 7 days a week, the videos get kind of long. Like last week we did it, we had a half-hour video. A lot of times people don't like that. So one of the other things that I'm thinking about, I haven't exactly ran it by Emily yet.
She's watching, by the way.
I know she's watching. Is to maybe do like our Saturday, like a sit down live, right? For maybe just 30 minutes on like a Saturday at some point, followed by like the release of like our food video, like on Sunday or Monday or something like that, like the weekly, just the release of just, this is, our everyday food stuff.
Well, the amazing thing about YouTube and being independent creators is you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know we kind of get lost in the idea that we don't want to step on other creators' toes, and we want to do our best to not go live when other channels are going live. But I mean, it's going to happen. There's probably a channel going live right now somewhere that we don't know about yet.
It's funny that only the small channels are the ones who think about that. We're like, oh, well, we don't want to step over, Dr. Barry's toes.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
but you know what? He'll flip his live on it anytime. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I mean, really, it is what it is. I mean, obviously, we've made friends in this community, so we obviously want to uphold and be, genuine with those friendships and do what we can to not step on each other's toes. But it's impossible. Like, I mean, there's been lives where I've like tried everything to make things not be at a time or whatever. And like, but you're dealing with someone who lives on the other side of the planet or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it shrinks the world down, like Cindy and Sana and Shander and I went live last night on their channels. And we talked for like an hour and a half. we just let it go. I mean, we were having a great time. It was kind of a first time all of us have been able to talk and get to know each other. And I didn't want to end it at an hour. They didn't want to end it at an hour, so we didn't.
Yeah.
Interviews
are hard to keep within a certain time limit. They're
Right.
hard.
Danny made it. Trey is here. Emily's thinking the same thing.
What is she thinking? The interviews are hard to cut off, or the Saturday morning with our videos?
I don't know. I have no idea. There's too many ideas flying around. Stacy's here.
So of all the videos that we do, of all the things that we do, I like the vlog style the best. You can sit down with a little PowerPoint and go through like what you want to do. Like, oh, I'm going to say this and this and this and this and this. That's not enjoyable for me. I know that them videos kind of do better. You know what I mean? They do better on YouTube, like instructional kind of things. But them are the ones that I don't like. The ones I do like the most are the ones where we just turn the camera on and it's, here I am. You know what I mean? Like, that's the ones that I like, and them are the most fun. And after 2 years of doing YouTube, if there's anything that's you got to do what you enjoy, or else it's not going to be fun. And there's been times that, like, we've been told by, other people, your videos are too long, you know what I mean? Like, we personally wouldn't watch your videos because they're, over 20 minutes long and things like that. And we've done things to chop them down. And the more I chopped them down, the more that I found that I wasn't having fun, because now, you know what I mean? We're catering to other people.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things because you want to appease like the algorithm, if you will. Like, but what you really want to do is replace the word algorithm with audience.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you're trying to appease the audience. If you're trying to grow your audience,
mm-hmm.
You're trying to bring more people to the community. So, I mean, there is obviously going to be a give and take, whether, if you're making videos that are too long and people aren't watching them, but you still have to make the compromise with yourself, make videos and content that you want, and then everything else is gravy, right? I mean,
I think if I had to dissect what I've noticed about the algorithm as far as YouTube goes, like, I know people expect us to talk about food, but we're talking about algorithms now, whatever that means. Anyway.
Audience. Remember, it means audience.
Anyway, YouTube has a thing that, when it comes up, it shows how many views you had. After the first 2 hours, it shows how many views. It kind of gives you a little ranking real quick of how your video is doing based on past. How many views, how long people are watching, and the click rate of your thumbnail. Like, how many people, when your thumbnail is given to 1,000 people, how many people are actually, what percentage of people are clicking on it? And one of the things that, and they can say that it doesn't hurt you, but for some reason it really does. So say that you do, your normal videos are 20 minutes, 20 minute, 20 minute, 20 minute. And then you come out with a top 5 products on keto. That's a 5-minute video. So you can have people watching half your videos, which is about the average 14, 15 minutes on a 30-minute video. Let's just say half. But then you put out this really good, powerful video that you've researched and you've done your work, and it's only 5 minutes long, and say everyone watches 100% of the video, it still goes down based on the average length of view. And I think that's
yes and no. So I think we get lost in some of that information, and I think that it's looking at a multitude of factors. So it's looking at click-through rate, how many people it's in front of, how many of those people are clicking on it. It's looking at view duration. So obviously, even if it's getting less view time than other content, but it's getting 100% or 95% or whatever the case is, it's still going to go out to more people, provided they continue to click on it. So I think that's where kind of that mystery is. And like you and I have spoken before. I have a friend that has a channel of his own, not a keto channel, nothing like that, but he's played with channels and YouTube for years, and he helped me kind of dial in and understand things, because the more you don't understand, the more likely you are to want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to give up, and I didn't want to feel like I wasn't doing good enough. So having him sit down and talk with me about the channel and the behind the scenes stuff was paramount to keep me going, because I've been, well, this is 3 years for me. And I mean, just keeping going, because my whole goal was to build community.
Yeah.
And and if I didn't stick with it, I wasn't going to build community. And if I didn't feel like I was reaching enough people, or my videos weren't doing well enough, I was going to quit. So that didn't help me accomplish my goals either. So I think that's even, when we have, because right now watching in our channel, watching in this chat, we have Maitreya, she's got a channel. Emily's watching, she's on your channel. We've got Stacy, she's got a channel. Cindy has a channel. We've got Partners in Ketosis, they have a channel. So they may have tuned in to see what we're eating, or what we're talking about in the keto sphere. But even this information is still relevant to them as well, because we're all new creators. Whether you have 15 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers, you're still a new creator. And these are all things that are helpful when you're starting out, because the one thing you don't want to do is give up. You want to keep going. So talking as a group and a community of creators to keep each other going. It doesn't matter if you're releasing one video a week, one video a month, or going live once a month, or whatever it is, as long as you continue to go and move forward and do what, and still accomplish your goals of trying to grow the community, we're doing good things. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to do good things. We want to help people. That's why we started doing this, because we didn't want people, at least for me, I'm not trying to speak for you, James, but I know for me personally, I knew that there were lots more of me out there struggling,
There's only one of you.
Right. But but people who
if there
felt
was more
the same
than you,
way
I'd
as me,
staying in.
I would too. That'd be terrifying. But for me, like the hopelessness, the idea that I'm just destined to end up like my mom, or or ex family member that you saw just go through all the stuff that they went through, and you're just kind of like, well, that's just going to be my fate. I don't want that for other people. I want people to have a place to come to, like a beacon, if you will, like a lighthouse for, for people who have all but given up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And what's interesting is I think our channel, one of the things that's exciting to me is, well, first off, we started off, and it was for us. When we started off for us, because we didn't have really, when I say that we didn't have many friends, we didn't. We had work acquaintances, and that's it. All we had was work, and we wasn't really active in our work either. We went to work and we came home, so
Right.
we knew people from work, and we wasn't good for being accountable to each other. So that was kind of like why we did it. When we threw it out on YouTube, just puked our life out on YouTube. And but anyway, it turned into community. It started for us, but like, that's not why we're doing it anymore. We're doing it for community, and we're doing it, to try to help anybody that we possibly can. And, that also involves, we're turning the corner of, and whether we get hate from this, I don't care. We was as clean as possible, absolutely as clean as possible. We were kind of like fitting in the mold, you slowly gravitate towards clean keto. Well, sometimes we can't always afford the best products. And sometimes I want the Mission tortilla soft taco shell, and that was stuff that we wasn't doing in the past. And so you can also, there's going to be other not everyone is perfectly clean. If you want everyone to be perfectly clean, there's other channels that you can watch that. But, this is us, and this is, where we're going to go. And it's, coming up, we're going to have holiday vlogs, and it's going to be just, our family and things like that. But we want to be very active in the community. But what I'm saying is you'll see us turn the corner a little bit on some things that's like, back to basics of like when you first started, like more carb based, but not, there's neither of us have an allergy to certain ingredients. Now, wheat makes me feel horrible. So if I'm going to have, I don't want wheat, but for the most part, we're not diabetic or anything like that. I'm just finding that, going back to where I would grab, 1 or 2 M&Ms for a total of 1 to 2 carbs is better off for me personally than saying I can have this bar of 15 carbs, and that's where I was really stalling, and I was really not seeing any progress. And I was spending a lot more money doing that because my mind says this is sugar-free and I can have 8 of them. Everybody's different. There's no cookie cutter.
100%. We were talking, before we got on stream about little things like having one chip or whatever it is, my youngest and I, we would go back and forth, and we would buy the newest energy drink that would come out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most of them are sugar free anymore, like the C4s and the G Fuels and all that stuff. They're primarily sugar free, loaded down with other stuff, but it was something that he and I would connect with, and I would see them out, and I would buy one for him, one for me. We would talk about it. We would, try them or whatever. And, or sometimes like kind of my, like, I'll be at the grocery store and, I'm like, I'm going to go pick up a package of bologna and I'm going to get a package of wheat keto bread. Is it good for me? No. But is it better than me doing other stuff? 100%. So I think you just gotta, like, you have to be, so I see, the channels you're talking about where they're like, I don't do anything. I've given up everything except for this. And I'm like, well, that's amazing. But I know myself better than that. And I know that that's only going to set myself up for failure if I totally try to cut everything out. If I'm like, I'm not going to have coffee. I'm never going to have diet soda. I'm never going to try that chip, whatever. Right.
Yeah. I mean, we say keto is sustainable, and it is. Keto is very sustainable. But let's, also remember what keto, the definition of keto is being low enough carb to be in the state of ketosis. That's what keto is. Keto isn't saying you have to have a cabinet full of products. That's really not keto. That's taken, we are starting to, at that point, we're doing like the vegans. We're making meat out of vegetables, and, we're making sugar out of not sugar. We're just making a Franken. I was eating a lot more Franken foods than I was, that's just how I feel about it. I was eating too many supplements. I was taking supplements for this, and then, because I was drinking this or doing this, now I have to take something to poop, and now I got to take something to stop pooping. I just went back to basics, and guess what? It's just poop now. It's normal.
It's like, they say there's no perfect diet for anyone, right? But okay, if you think about it like this, if there's anyone on the planet who can't thrive on whole foods, then I don't know what to tell you. If you need that boost protein shake to thrive, I guess you're going to do what you got to do. But I mean, like, if you figure that you've got, like, whether you're a meat eater or you're a vegan or vegetarian or whatever you are, carnivore, ketovore, whatever, as long as you're probably eating 100% single ingredient foods, you're probably going to be okay. I mean, obviously, if you're just mainlining quinoa and rice all the time, you're probably not going to be the best, but like not getting enough protein or whatever. But whole foods is going to be, what you need, right?
Yeah, and Cindy said something about 100 carbs per day. I could never go to 100 carbs a day. Although we can say that can be like shocking, be like 100 carbs a day, but I'd hate to see how many carbs I was eating. I bet I was eating 4 or 500 a day
Oh,
before I started.
100%.
No,
Like,
30 is always going to be my number, unless I've decided that like, and people said that was high when I did the 30 total carbs, because I don't want to play the net, and I don't want, you know what I'm saying? That just hurts my head. Well, should we deduct this sugar, alcohol? That hurts my head. I don't know. I just see total carbs.
in the beginning, I was worried because when we first started keto, like in 2016, I was looking at packages of broccoli and cauliflower going, how is this low carb? How can you eat this? And I'm like, oh, the net carbs. And I think net carbs play a role in things like broccoli, cauliflower, that kind of stuff, right? But then when you're playing the net carb, like ingredient limbo, and you're like, you get a product that's like 50 total carbs and they get it down to 2 net carbs, like there's something that's just not adding up there. So you're getting way more than you really bargained for.
Yeah. It's funny that one of the things that really, really bothers me was almond flour. I just can't do almond flour, and I think that might have, that might affect one of the reasons why I feel, sometimes the way I feel about certain products, because everything is really based almond flour, very heavy almond flour, and it just destroys me. Hurts.
I'm going to look at some of these comments. We've got, let's see what we got. Cindy says, James, as you go forward and you have improved your health, do you. In Dr. Westman's book, In Carb Confusion, he states how starting at 20 total carbs, and then as time goes on, you can go up to 100 carbs a day. Yeah, I just don't, you did touch on that a little bit, but I kind of wonder, like, how that would work. And I know that there's been content out there by like Paul Staldino and the other guy, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they put a video out where they're like, I have 200 grams of carbs every day. It's fruit and honey. And I'm like, well, that works out well for you. And I'm not trying to be like snide or snotty about it, but I'm looking at these two gentlemen and they are like in peak physical, I can't even talk, peak physical health. They work out all day, every day. They've got muscles and they're probably not ashamed to take their clothes off. You know what I mean? They're just like, I look good. And then I'm like, that's not all of us. That's not a lot of us in this journey are not there. And the idea, and the one thing that does bother me about that, not the fact that they're doing it, because it's them and they're able to do whatever it is that they want to do, but it just seems a little disingenuous that they're talking about their 200 grams of carbs a day, and they're talking to a community and not specifying, this is because I've gotten my body into a metabolic state that can handle the 200 grams of carbs a day, because I am exercising and I'm lifting weights and I'm doing all this and I'm going above and beyond the average person in this lifestyle. Way above and beyond. And I think that's one of the things that bugs me about it. So that's where, like, if the same thing is like if somebody tells you, James, you should never, ever go above 10 total carbs in a day, I'd be mad at them too.
Life is
because it's not, that's not you, or it's not up for anybody else to decide.
Life is in a, there's no, you know what I mean? There's no right answer for any one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might be able to go 10 carbs for a week and be fine. And then there's that day that I'm not. I mean, It's easy to say, and that's why when I also, I like to do the carnivore Monday through Friday, and then I like to do keto on the weekends because just, there's just things that keep me in line, and everyone has to find their own way.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes super buttery broccoli just tastes real good.
Yes.
It's not off plan. You're not doing anything crazy, but it's not what you want to do throughout the week. Like last night, I had a steak before we went live with Cindy and Sana. And then I was feeling okay. And then after we talked and I was doing some other stuff and getting lunches packed for Shanders this weekend's work stuff. And I was like, I need something else. So I made myself some sardines and scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. All right. So Emily made the carnivore macaroni and cheese last night. With the baby shrimp and all that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No?
No.
Why?
There was just something about it because, okay, so first off, I never liked mac and cheese in my life. I never liked it. It was never anything
you're a
I
weirdo.
ever.
You're a pod person. I hear you.
A what?
You're a pod person. I hear you.
I was a fry person and chips. I just never liked mac and cheese. And then it's not that I don't like shrimp. I don't like them little small shrimp. You know what I mean? Like I like shrimp.
Those little salad shrimps?
Yeah. Well, it was like the next step up. It was like the extra small. It's like the next step above the salad shrimps. Anyway, she made it and it looked beautiful. But there was just something about it. And I probably ate too much before it was done because it was like the last thing done and I'd been fasting all day, so I was starving. And yeah, it was just one of them. I looked at it and I was like, no, can't do it. Like I was just seeing, in the beginning, I heard everybody like Robin and other people that had it when we were at KPO or the meetup, they were saying how good it was. And, oh, it tastes just like mac and cheese. Well, everybody else was tasting it last night. They're like, oh, you can definitely taste the shrimp. But I was like, yeah, I'm not up for that. And it was pink.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Chandra in the house, so I'll be super excited to make something, and I'll make it, and I'll be like, yeah, and I'll put it on a plate, and she's like, yeah, no. I'm like, but I'm like, well, I guess it's more for me, I guess.
And so right now I've been having a heyday because turkeys are cheap everywhere. So I go in and I buy a turkey, and I did this like 2 weeks ago. And then I made one yesterday too. But yesterday I finally, I got a call. I finally got a meat injector. I'm not kidding. I probably, shot 2 to 3 sticks of butter up in this thing, like over and over and over throughout the cook. And I melted the butter with Cajun, just like a Creole seasoning. And I thought it was really, really good, especially when it was brand new and I was cutting it and you could see the butter was coming out the holes where where I injected it. I don't know what happened.
I'm just moving things around.
Oh, well, hi.
Hi.
Anyway,
keep the people's attention.
When I was literally cutting like the breast and stuff, you could see the butter that was draining out with the Cajun seasoning and stuff. And man, it was so good when it was hot. By the time Emily got home and had it, it wasn't as good. But literally, as I was shooting like a stick of butter in this thing, I could see it like blowing up and then coming back down. It was.
I look forward to turkey. I make 1 or 2 a year. Like, I stuff it. Like, I use butter as stuffing.
Really?
I usually like put like 2 pounds of butter inside of it, and then I try to like lift the skin and just cake butter under the skin, and I cook them upside down. So I put them in like the turkey bag, and then I cook it upside down. So all like that, the fat runs down into like the drier breast area. So like it just comes out so juicy. We tried spatchcocking one time. It was like a lot of work and broke like 2 pair of scissors. But
I think I'd have to get the Sawzall out.
I know.
Just the I don't really know what the purpose is. The one I made yesterday, I put it on at 11 and it was done by 3. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. One thing I'll tell you on the smoker is nothing is a set time. you can't even estimate a set time because normally that cook would have taken 6 hours, but what I did was I normally cook it at 325 and it would have taken like 6 hours. But this one here, I'm trying to tinker around with the skin because I'm trying to get the skin to not be rubber. And it's very hard
Right.
on a smoked turkey because that's just what happens on the outside, and it was better, but it still wasn't as good. It was more like a plastic instead of rubber this time. I don't know. But anyway, I cranked it up to 425 for like a half hour in the initial when I first put it in there. And then I dropped it down to 325 and it literally took like 2 hours off the cook. But the meat was still good and the skin was better. It just wasn't it's not that fried, that oil fried skin. I just don't see that ever happening.
Now I've never made a fried turkey, but
Well, yeah, it's delicious, of course.
yeah, it's just a pain, and you've got to like not try to not burn your house down.
Well, and at this point, no matter how we go as far as like, oh, this is, no matter where our blurred line goes between clean and dirty, it's never going to go to seed oils. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
trying
I
to.
don't want that. I don't want seed oils. I don't want maltodextrin. I don't want this and this and this. But where do you see what I'm trying to say? Like,
I think if I was gonna fry a turkey and it was like once a year, I probably wouldn't be so against something like peanut oil.
no, probably. I mean, probably not. I mean, we're talking once a year, and you're getting them oils every time you go out. But
Because I figure
we don't
peanut
like.
oil, because peanuts are oily and it's not that like they're not going through such a chemical process to get it out of the peanut. At least, and as far as I understand, I mean, I'm probably sure there's some kind of industrial chemical process where it's gonna whatever, right? But it's just in my brain. I'm like, it's probably better.
You know,
Not all the time, but I couldn't imagine going and buying like, like 3 gallons of lard.
yeah, I just have this, and I think Emily does too. I think we just have this thing that like, if we go out and we get soybean oil with our meal, we only go out once a week tops. So, there's 7 other days that we're not getting anything bad. Once you bring something back into your house, it's kind of hard to kick some of that stuff back out. Next thing you know, it'd be like, oh, well, we can use, we're just going to make fried Brussels sprouts and we're going to use this peanut oil. And you know what I mean? The next thing you know, it's things just, someone never just up and says, I'm off the wagon. You know what I mean? It's just a slow thing. And I just don't want them oils because I am concerned about heart health. And, no matter how clean or how dirty, my numbers, my medical numbers, my lab numbers, everything's good. So like everything's going in the right direction.
Right. So I figure like our kids come over and cook at our house sometimes. Whenever they've got a lot of stuff to cook, say like once a year we go to the apple orchard, we take the girl, she picks out her pumpkins and we buy like a bushel of apples or whatever, the big bag, and the kids take them and then they make pies out of them. They always cook the pies at our house.
Mm-hmm.
So I come home or I'm at home and I come downstairs or whatever, there's 5 pies. I'm like, great. And then they're leaving the flour, the sugar, there's like vegetable oil on my counter. I'm like, take it home. I don't want it here. And they never do because they don't listen
Mm-hmm.
because they're kids. They're in their 20s, but still. Jeannie Batts is here. Good morning. I'm trying to make sure I'm saying hello to everybody as they come in and comment. We may not get to everybody's comments, but at least saying hello to everybody.
What time does
I
Rachel
lost
and Joe start their stream?
on Saturdays.
This will be their 11 on 11.
Probably not for a while. Maybe 10. That's when they go on Mondays is 10.
I just didn't know. I know they're doing. Oh, she says 9.
9. Yeah.
So we can't go that long. It's time to get off at that point.
Oh yeah, we were only 30 minutes in or so we're good. And I figure that if I'm going to have other people on from other parts of the country or the world, I'll probably have to play around with the time of day that this happens on Saturdays. So, and I mean, I want to thank you for being like, hey, if you wanted me to come on or you want me to be involved, it's got to be a Saturday.
Yeah, it couldn't be a Sunday, you know. I
Yeah.
I don't say no to anyone unless it's, you know, something crazy.
I mean, and realistically, even for me for Sunday morning, I wasn't really anticipating anybody showing up. I figured I would just sit there and talk to myself.
On Sunday morning?
Yeah.
What are
But
you
people
getting, like
show up. People are like, Cindy's like, I set my alarm.
you're getting, like, over 20 I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is surprising because I'm like, it's 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Most people are like, I don't want to get up.
I
I'm
think
like,
people
I'm
probably,
up.
you know, people like that, whether they're up and getting ready for anything or whether they're just drinking their coffee, you know, they feel like they're in conversation with you.
Yeah.
It's like a little morning conversation.
Good morning, Sherry. It is like that. Like, there was just nothing going on in the mornings on the weekends. And I would get up and drink my coffee and I would be flipping around YouTube, watching this, that, and the other, or whatever. And then I would find myself just kind of like doing that for longer than I wanted to. I've got other stuff I want to do. So I figure, well, I'm going to get up, make my coffee, get ready, sit in front of the computer, talk to people who show up. And then that's a little more productive. And I get a chance to talk to people. And because Chandra works every Saturday and Sunday. And there's nobody here. We don't watch the girl on the weekends most of the time. So I'm just kind of lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is selfish because I get to talk to you. We talk every once in a while during the week, when we're not too busy, whatever. And this gives me a chance, an excuse to talk to you. I think we've become friends, maybe.
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 And then we're back to doing our Saturday videos because it's the season, you know what I mean? Like we don't want to stop doing YouTube, but life changes. So the Thursdays are not possible. So we're going back to the Saturdays and what a perfect time to do it because, wintertime is more, for me, wintertime is more YouTube time. That's more, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? It's cold out. It's dark at 4:30. Let's watch YouTube.
Bob says we're up too early.
We are, especially for a Saturday.
I mean, like I said, for me, I'm up anyway. It was either, it's either do this or work on, other stuff for the channel, or I waste time until I'm going to go DoorDash or whatever. So I would rather waste my time talking with you.
Hey,
and all the other people.
Since Emily's here, check this out. And here's something funny. All right. So Thursday. I fasted Thursday. No food, whatever. I ate Wednesday night at 6:00, and then I didn't eat again until 5:00 yesterday. So it was I had a 47-hour fast, right? Because I'm doing the OMAD, and because I'm doing OMAD, I'm doing it strict OMAD, which I'm giving myself a 2-hour window, which isn't as strict as normal, but it's strict into the point that like when I do my once a week fast, full fast, that basically sets me up for a 48-hour without food, right? Or, 47. So we went to the movies the other night and we went Thursday. So Emily's like, oh, no popcorn. Well, we had Noah, and I'm sorry if I'm telling on you, Em. So they decide, she looked at me because she fasted all day too. And I'm like, look, if you want popcorn, we're at the movies. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So Noah gets, they're sharing a popcorn because once again, life goes on, you know what I mean? And yeah, I go out, I'm like, I got to pee really bad before the movie starts. So I come back and Emily's like, hey, why don't you say hi to her? And like down the aisle was a lady that we had met at her name was Michelle, and was a lady that we met at one of the Ohio meetups. And I'm like, who are you talking about? Because I have an aunt named Michelle. I'm like, I don't see anyone. She's like, no, Michelle from the meetup. And I look over, yeah, and I'll be darned. I'm like, hey. And so she comes over, and I point immediately. I'm like, she's cheating. I'm not. It's just one of them things. Like, you know what I mean? Like the one time that, you know, I'm not going to say the one time, but, you know, the time that she goes out and has popcorn at the movies on a fast day, definitely run into someone who watches your YouTube channel.
I have never had that. I've never run into anybody like just at random.
No, but when you will the time that you probably have a chocolate covered banana in your mouth.
Or like I always feel it's going to be like when I'm loading up and buying groceries for the kids, and I've got or I'm buying stuff for the the granddaughter, and I've got like hash browns in the cart, and I've got whatever in the cart. Well, we try not to feed her too much stuff. Like we will give her like tater tots, and we'll give her like 4 or 5 tater tots.
Mm-hmm.
She's 5, and so at this point in her life, she is not that big on eating. So we have to give her options so she will eat, because she's so skinny.
Yeah.
She's so thin and she's tall. So and she just would rather play and run around like a crazy like hoodlum than eat.
Don't you wish
I wish I had her energy, and I wish I didn't want to eat all the time.
Don't you wish that you'd be like, yeah, there's a pie over there, but yeah, I'm playing. No.
Yeah.
I wish someone would have to be like, James, if you don't come over and sit down and eat your pie, you're grounded.
Right? I mean, we literally have to set timers with Alexa. We have to set a timer. We'd have set 5-minute timers, because it used to be 4 minutes. Now it's 5 minutes, because it goes up with age. Mm-hmm. So when she turns 6, it'll be a 6-minute timer. You know, it's how kids' brains work, right? So we'll set a 5-minute timer. She can play. And she has to come, because we usually give her cottage cheese, which she calls mac and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets like cottage cheese, usually have some kind of berry, like blueberries. Sometimes we'll have like little mini carrots. Sometimes we'll have like chicken nuggets, or like hash browns or tater tots or something, because she just doesn't want to eat. So we have to really work at getting her stuff that she will eat. She'll eat her weight in cottage cheese, which I don't even like cottage cheese. So,
oh Lord, I can't even imagine what would happen if I did that.
What, just didn't eat?
No, ever? Ate my weight in cottage cheese.
That would be a lot of cottage cheese.
But yeah, I wish, yeah. I look back, and so I was raised in a home that we didn't have food. I know it sounds completely stupid. We literally would have like baked potatoes and butter, and that's it. Like there was nothing, you know. We would have bread and like no peanut butter, or you know what I mean? Like we always had something with a missing ingredient. So like my go-to when I was a kid was like literally saltines and yellow mustard, because you could always kind of count that we'd have that. Or baked potatoes and country crock, which obviously not good now. We know that. Back then, people, you know, back in the 80s, butter was definitely the enemy, and you know, the Blue Bonnet was the good stuff.
We never had like, I remember we always had country crock, and then I remember like as I got older, I liked Olivio.
What was it?
Olivio.
No, I don't know.
It was like this margarine, but it had like a little bit of olive oil in it or something like that. Yeah. I was like, this tastes so good. And I would like slather it on bread, and I'm like, nom.
You can actually hear me getting healthy.
Yeah. Like, but speaking to like the, you know, like things when because I was a kid and we were the same way. Like my mom cooked. We didn't go out to eat a lot, but we didn't go hungry. But we always didn't have all the ingredients.
We didn't go hungry, but there was never any food. Like we literally had to go get in the car and we'd go get our food.
So I remember there was a sandwich that I loved when I was a kid. My mom would make us these sandwiches, but you had to have all the ingredients or it didn't work. Now, hear me out. It was my mom always got us wheat bread because wheat bread was healthy. So we would always get Cub Foods split top wheat. And then we had to have peanut butter, cheese, bologna, and potato chips for the sandwich. How healthy does that sound? It was delicious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've always loved putting chips on my food. Did you ever have like this little sandwich maker? I don't know. My family called it a Snackmaster, where it basically came down and it would cut your sandwich. It would toast your sandwich and make them into triangles.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
can still get those.
Yeah, my mom brought that home one day, and I thought that like she's a chef. So there
I
was
had
like
one in the cabinet.
Yeah, there was like times where like, I mean, it was on at our house then. We had them little packs of beef that were like, back then they were probably like 10 cents. And we had the fake plastic, like the plastic Swiss, the fake processed everything. And oh yeah, we just made gourmet sandwiches for months, I think.
I think those packets of beef these days are like 60 or 75 cents. You can get like beef or ham, and it's just like you don't really know exactly how much meat's really in it.
Yeah, you don't know.
It's like Bubba. I think it's called Bubba.
Do you remember like the armored dried beef that would come in a jar?
My mom didn't ever buy that, but we used to eat Vienna sausages.
I used to think it was the best for that and cream cheese. Like I said, if you could ever get all the ingredients. You remember when food stamps were coupons?
Yeah.
Me and my friend one time, we went into a grocery store and we found a book of food stamps sitting on the shelf. Now we're like, early teens, maybe 14. Literally bought like $100 worth of icing and stuff, and we just took it all back, and it was like game time with a spoon.
My mom would sit and we would watch TV, and she would sit down and have like a container of icing and a package of graham crackers, and we would just eat icing and graham crackers while we watched TV. It's a wonder I survived.
Yes. Yeah. The pink animal cookies, I loved them.
Oh, yeah.
But even though they had icing on them, you still had to have double icing.
Yeah. Now, okay, so like when I do fasts, and it's funny because when I do like extended fast, when I'm talking like 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, or whatever, I'll start having these random food cravings. They'll come in hard too, but they don't usually last too long.
Really?
But there'll be stuff that I haven't eaten in a long time. I'll be sitting there, I'm like, you know what sounds good? And I'll just rattle off something I haven't had since I was like 9 or whatever. And I'm like, and then one day I got to talking with Shander about it. I was like, you know what I think those cravings are? I think it's like as your body is burning the fat, it's burning the fat that was accumulated when you ate that item when you were 10. So it's like the ghost of food past.
Oh Lord! So if I ever go on like a longer than 48 hours, I'll be craving like ice. I'll be tasting icing.
Icing and graham crackers, and my mom. So my mom would always make the Chef Boyardee pizzas. It was supposed to be 2 pizzas, but she would make one big one.
Never heard of that.
And it would come with the powder for the crust, or whatever, like the flour and the dough to make the dough. It would come with a little can of sauce, and it would come with Parmesan cheese. That would be our pizza. No, nothing extra. If we were being fancy, she might have bought a package of shredded cheese, or maybe it's like black olives to put on her side. But we never put anything on our pizza. It was like the most poor pizza you could think of, that. And we ate a lot of fish sticks and canned carrots. With added sugar.
I remember we ate a lot of fish sticks too, especially when like Austin was, my oldest was born, and I didn't make much money or whatever, had like $50-$60 a week left. And I remember fish sticks. I remember when I was a kid, fish sticks like was breaded fish. And then they went to breaded breaded fish, and then it was kind of like some fish mixed in with breading.
Yeah, just like minced
That was
fish mixed in
breaded.
with the batter. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's just complete breading that kind of has been sprayed with fish.
Yeah, we would just have like whatever the cheap Kroger brand was or whatever, or I'm trying to think, but she would make like home fries and she'd just deep fry them in Crisco.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking to myself, because I was a bigger kid once I got past like the 3rd grade, and my mom was always a bigger woman, and I was always like, I'd see her eat pork rinds, and even when I was a kid, I had this idea like those can't be healthy. I would never try them. Like I never ate pork rinds. I didn't start eating pork rinds until keto. It just wasn't a thing I was going to put in my mouth.
Yeah,
and
I
I
don't
want to
think I
say
really
hi
liked
to
them
Jeannie
before
and
much.
Brenda. They're both in here now.
I didn't care much for pork rinds before. I mean, I didn't hate them. I just didn't, I didn't think about it. Once again, you still think that you thought, oh, pork fat, well, that can't be good for you. I'll have the fried potato skin.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to shake. Like, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, I've overcome it obviously now, but like growing up, I'd be like, oh man, like the meat sweats and all that stuff, and I was like, it had to be the French fries and the bread and all the stuff kind of coming along with it. Because if I just sit down with a big old steak, I don't sweat.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever had any kind of the sweats from eating anything. I wonder if that's just like, people's metabolism having to work extra hard, maybe, you know what I mean? To process the meat. I don't know. Dustin, are you froze? Well, here I am. Where is Dustin? Dustin says he had a power surge, so here we are. If you can still hear me, let me know. And I can't adjust the comments. I can't click on them, but I can read them. So Cindy says, Brian sweats eating ketchup. If he gets something spicy, he needs a towel for his head. That sounds... My stepdad used to do that. He used to always love this habanero salsa. And he, just as soon as he started eating it, he would sweat, and he would literally have like a rag. And I don't know, I kind of thought that was gross at the table, that he was like having to wipe himself down. But it was funny. Brenda says, it's the James show. Here I am. Well, hopefully he gets back soon. Hopefully his power surge didn't take out his camera either. I think maybe the show might look a little better now. I don't know. Yeah, Emily says, I get the hiccups. Jeannie says, I wonder if Domino's misses me. Haven't had it since May. All right, so little trick. If you go to Chipotle and you use the app and you get your salad, your burrito bowl or whatever, if you don't go back for 6 months, they'll start sending you something that says, we miss you. And you come back and you'll get a free entree. I've done that multiple times. It was funny because it was within a month or two when I started keto that I started getting these messages saying that we miss you. And then I realized that if I go back and I start eating the burrito bowls, just the salads, they just keep repeatedly sending me coupons for more free entrees. So I go back every few months, 6 months, about every 6 months, and I get free entrees.
I'm back.
Hey,
hello.
Hey, welcome to my show. Welcome, Dustin.
You were saying something about I wonder if Domino's misses me. I was watching. If anybody's familiar with Gormy Goes Keto or something like that, his name is Mike Gorman. he's got a pretty decent social media presence. He's got a podcast, the Fat Man Podcast, I think is what it's called. He was talking about he was going to Burger King or something so much that he was sick for like 2 days, and then when he went back, they were like, "We were worried about you." Like, no joke.
Yeah.
But he's been like 500 plus pounds twice, and lost it and got down to 200 pounds twice.
Really? What is he now?
He's in a 200-ish pounds, somewhere in that range now.
Well, hopefully he stays that way.
He should. I mean, it's been a while now, and like because he had lost all the weight the first time, and then something happened, and he gained it all back in 6 months.
Look, I'm such a foodie. I think, you know, if I didn't keep myself in check, like if I just said, you know, challenge accepted, I feel like I could gain it all back in 3 weeks. I know that seems hard, but you just got to know me, that I'm one of them people who, if I don't have this kind of a structure, I will not eat a meal. I will just eat all day. Little amounts even, and not even big amounts, but it's something I know it would be 10 to 15 pounds a week. I know it would be.
If I went back to eating how I was before, like right around the time that I started dating Chandra, and I was still living at my grandma's, like my grandma and I lived together. You know, I moved in to help my grandma, my mom, and then my mom had all of her strokes and all that stuff and was in nursing homes all the time. But I was still living with her to help my grandma. And then as I transitioned out, I still paid all of her bills and lived with Chandra. I was eating, like when I'd go home and stay the night, I was eating so bad. Like it was ridiculous how bad I would eat. And I mean, it just kind of shows like the food addiction side of things that we don't necessarily talk about, where I would eat like, I would make a full thing of like Velveeta shells and cheese. I would make a full, like, and I would mix in like tomato soup. And then I would mix in, like, I would sit and I would eat with like dip pizza rolls in that, or dip like corn dog nuggets in that, and eat like a whole bag of those, and just eat to where I thought if I rolled over in my bed, I would literally explode. And I would do that every night. You know, and I mean, like, and it was such a thing, like, you're embarrassed to do that alone. Like, I mean, I would be like self-conscious eating that much alone, but I couldn't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of that stuff gets overlooked. There's a lot of people out there who have that, and they just, you know, that's kind of like there's some mukbangs and stuff that I see out there where people will literally go and buy everything a fast food restaurant has. And then you can see they're like just big people. And I've thought about doing reaction videos to those, but like, I'm not trying to shame somebody. And I don't think there's a way to do like a reaction video to that and not be shaming them, even if, no matter how sincere I am with, you know, that I would probably do the same thing, you know, because my thing is I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings or make anybody feel worse than they obviously already do, or cause someone to come on. I mean, you know, they're getting enough hate as it is. They don't need me to help them like that. So
I wonder what makes someone decide they want to go, you know, get everything on the menu.
I was talking with Logan or Goody Beats about that. He had made a video about a woman who went and got, she was like, her video, he did a reaction video of this woman, and she was like pouring these like caramel macchiatos from Starbucks into a big container, just a gigantic, looked like a 2-gallon container, and then was putting whipped cream on top of that and started to drink it. And I'm thinking, you know, there's definite shame involved, whether or not you can see it in the video. And they think, they know they're going to get a reaction, because even negative attention is still attention to, you know, like even getting the hateful comments, like you know, you are so much this, that, and the other. How could you do that to yourself? You know, and then there's going to be the comments of, oh, that looks so good. I would love to do that. which is
Well,
strange too.
I would like to do that, but I can't. And I guess my battle with food addiction, the only thing I ever did, I think, that was hiding. After Emily would go to bed, I would come down and hit up a couple more Little Debbies or something real quick. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't even taste them. Don't even remember eating them. Just remember that
Oh yeah.
they're gone. But there's definitely I'm going to McDonald's. What do you want? And then, you want to be the one that goes to McDonald's sometimes because you can get that extra sandwich that no one knows about.
Yeah. Or like you can get that extra, like that was a thing for me, like even still to this day, but it's for a different reason now. So like we go and choose restaurants now based on value in our current way of eating versus before was who's going to give us the most food. I mean, it's still the most food,
Yes.
but it's a different outlook. Like you would go to like, a fancy steakhouse because they're going to give you salad. They're going to give you bread and butter. They're going to bring, then you get a blooming onion or whatever. You're going to leave stuffed and you feel like you got your money's worth. And where like with our way of eating, you go out to like, you go to like a fancy burger place and just get a burger patty. You're paying $15 for a burger patty and a cup of soda. You're not getting French fries. You're not getting the bread. You're not getting all the extra toppings. You feel let down. So that's where like we would go to like Rockstar Pizza because you get a whole pizza.
Yeah, and then you say, "Hey, can I substitute fries for broccoli?" And they're like, "Yeah, that'd be an extra $2." It's like you're gonna charge me $2 to have broccoli than the unlimited fries that I could have had. Like, where's so it's not fair. And a lot of times that's why we don't go out to eat a lot of places is because I'm not. Because I start getting sad. You know what I mean? I'm taking this thing. I'm supposed to be out having a good time. We're going out to dinner together. This is supposed to be fun. They're having fun eating fries and I'm not.
Yeah. Well, it's like, like you talk about going out to Mexican food or whatever, and like you have a couple of chips. They bring them, even if you ask them not to. Sometimes they'll still just like without, because it's like muscle memory for them. They bring the salsa, they bring the chips, and they just go on about their day. Even if you say, "Hey, I would rather you not bring me the chips," they may still bring them anyway.
Yeah, if I go to the Mexican restaurant, I've already decided that I'm having the chips, or else I'm not going.
I mean, I'll get like, so there's a Mexican restaurant that we like to go to, and they have their fajita platter is big enough even without all the sides, which makes it to me a decent value. It's like $13, and we get like the beef, chicken, and shrimp on it, and it's enough food, and I feel like I'm getting my value even without the tortillas, the rice, the beans, which I probably wouldn't have eaten the beans anyway. Then you just ask for extra sour cream and get some queso. Now, the problem with queso at a Mexican restaurant is probably made with like condensed milk or something and probably awful, but it tastes good.
And that's where, when you decide that you're going out, I feel like you've already, you're giving up something already. You're already, you're knowing what you're getting. You're getting bad oils, you're getting this and that. And a lot of times, if I'm going out to a meal that is going to be a keto meal, if I'm going for a steak or whatever, and I'm staying strict keto, I'm always, most of the time, unless they have a salad bar, I'm mostly let down because I can make, or Emily can make, food that is just as good. You know what I mean? We can make chicken fajitas with onions and peppers for literally $8 at home on the Blackstone. And if you just a little bit of preparation, with, marinating the meat or whatever the night before, you can put that on pork rinds and, make your own queso or whatever and just pour it right on top of them. And a lot cheaper, makes me a lot, more happy than going out. And it stresses me out to go somewhere and stick completely to plan because I know what this stuff tastes like. Don't take me to Red Lobster and say I can't have a Cheddar Bay biscuit because I might like implode.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like that's the thing, like where like the times that we choose to go out to dinner is usually when somebody invites us out, or we've got some kind of family in town, or we do whatever. Sometimes we just want to go out because we sometimes it's worth the expense just to not have to cook for yourself, clean up after yourself. You can go eat, you can come home, and it's done. But I mean, because when we cook for ourselves every day, so it's or multiple times a day because we cook eggs in the morning or whatever, and then we make steaks or whatever at night. It is nice to go out and have someone else cook for you.
It is. And what's funny is, so last Monday, well, it'll be on our video. It comes out later. Last Monday, we went to Golden Corral because we just didn't feel like cooking. Okay. And the Golden Corral is literally like 25 minutes. So we drove 25 minutes there and 25 minutes back so that we wouldn't have to cook 15 minutes.
But I mean, and it's also just nice to be together and go do something.
Yes. And we don't have that pizza place that you have, but we have a rapid fire pizza, and you can go in and you can, it's just like a Chipotle. They have the line of all the stuff. You can get your pizza or whatever. You can get like a pizza bowl, basically a doughless, no dough, or you can get a giant salad with all the toppings, and we can do. There's just, we do have our go-to places that doesn't have triggers for me. And another place that doesn't have triggers for me is some place I've never been, because it's the places that I've been to in the past that I associate with things that I can taste without even having them.
Oh yeah, like I could go to, say, like Penn Station. I don't know if you have those or not. You probably do.
We do.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah, but like I can go in and get the meat in a container with the onions and some cheese on it and go home. But like when I go in there, the smell of the bread. I mean, especially if I'm doing DoorDash, I go and smell it and I'm like, oh, it would be amazing to have a big old sandwich.
And the cookies? Are you kidding
I don't
me?
think I've ever had the cookies.
Oh yeah, you're lucky. Because if you had one of them, you'd be like, okay, now I gotta have this and a cookie.
I just miss the way like the grease from the meat and the cheese and everything would soak into the bread, So that's like exactly what you're talking about. It's like I remember that, and that's what I want. That's kind of like almost over the meat itself. It's like I can have all the meat I want. I can have all the meat. I can have the onions. I can do, the cheese. That's not the big deal. But what I want and what I reminisce, or the nostalgia in my brain is that big old French bread with, or whatever it is, with all that grease in it. Delicious.
So it's kind of like the sopping wet bun at White Castle.
That too, or like when I was in Chicago in October, we went to Chicago. We went and got Chicago beef. And
we're losing viewers, Dustin. They're literally going to eat right now.
I know.
They're like, I don't know why I'm craving a really wet, greasy
White Castle. I'm on my way.
Yeah, I need a dripping hoagie roll right now.
I know. I mean, we're bad influences.
That's the way Emily is on fast days. She's like, what do we want to have tomorrow? Like, we don't want to talk about it now.
Oh, you know what I am on when I'm fasting, because Shayna doesn't fast. So I will be fasting, like especially when I've done like long 2-week fast, 3-week fast. I'm sitting there and I will sit down on the couch and watch Triple D, Guy Fieri in there showing me all this food. I'm like, I'm just having a good time. I'm like, and then my brain starts turning. I'm like, I can make that. I can turn that into keto. I can keto that. And I'm sitting there and my brain's just turning all the time. Like, I can make this food and I can make that food.
You know what amazes me about fasting?
Thank you for being here, Jeannie.
What amazes me about fasting is it's like that first day when you fast, that night when I go to bed, my stomach burns, okay? Like that first night, it's like I'm going to bed, I'm hungry, I just almost feel sick, my stomach's so empty. It's like that sleep, you wake up, reset, and I feel like you could go a long time, you know what I mean? It's like that first, and I'd imagine it probably gets better I've never done more 50, like 51 or 52 hours is the most I've ever did. And I would imagine that it probably gets easier, like Larry when he did 14 hours on Carnivore Quest. I feel like at that point your body just says, you know what? We don't need food.
I think it's a natural mechanism in our bodies because over the time of us being humans, there's never been a time like right now. Like the abundance of food in the last, say, 200 years is probably 1,000% more than it's ever been throughout human history. Like we can go to the grocery store and literally come home with 30 carts of food. If you can afford it, you can eat it. That's never been like that in history before. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at like the early hunter gatherers and they're like following the meat and they're like, I'm sure they ate well sometimes.
Dustin, I want you to do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't know how true this is, but I heard this and it's so cool to me to think this way. So when we were created, because we were definitely created, they say that when you fast, like your first day or two, they say that the longer that you fast, the more sharp your eyesight gets, your hearing gets, the more you're even able to move so that you'll become a better hunter, like the longer that you're hungry. You know what I mean? Like if you haven't eaten for a week, I'm guessing, your eyesight gets, and it's been that way for hundreds of years of people who had to hunt for their food and things, but supposedly your eyesight gets better, your hearing gets better, everything gets better. So I'm just curious that if you fast long enough, Dustin, if you could like be out in the wild with like a spear and tell me if it gets better over time and you were able to catch the
I imagine it does. Hunting people's cats.
Yeah, Dustin would be out after the third day. Here, kitty, kitty.
No, I mean, like, as I've gone 3 weeks, I've done 21 days.
Well, did you notice anything that any of your senses get sharper? Like, was you able to see better sales at the supermarket when you went?
I mean, definitely you do feel different. There's a definite heightened sense of something. And I imagine that if we were hunters, I imagine it would probably be easier. I noticed that. So when I did the 21-day fast, it was right in the middle of the fast. We were moving and getting new flooring. So we had to move our entire house's worth of furniture twice. So like moving stuff upstairs, downstairs, putting stuff in the garage, taking it out of the garage so they could come in and take up all the old flooring, put down the new flooring. Then we had to put stuff back, and then like upstairs, because it was 2 different groups of people came in. Like the people came in and did the downstairs flooring, and a couple spot. We got the bathrooms upstairs and the laundry room upstairs have the same flooring we have downstairs. That laminate wood looking floors, right? And then everything else upstairs is carpet. So the bedrooms and the hallways and like the bonus room or eBay room is carpet. Or I like to call it puke catchers because that's where the cats puke, always on the carpet. Like we've got all that hardwood, all that stuff that's easy to clean downstairs. They go right for the carpet. But I knew that I had a lot of trouble keeping up. I got tired and winded much easier, but I was like 2 weeks in to a fast. Yeah. So that's definitely an issue. So like the timing was not great, but I knew that because that's kind of how I started my channel with like the first 3 weeks. Yeah, I think the first 3 weeks of my channel was all about me fasting. I was trying to put a video out every day. I didn't put it out every day. I think I put out like maybe 19 videos out of 21 days or something. They were like short 2-3 minute videos tops. So yeah, let's see. So we've got some people talking about they fasted. They've got people who have 72 hours. Cindy says she's done 72 hours. No way she could do 14. But think so. I didn't start out doing 14 days. So when I started doing keto, I was doing 14 hours. I started at 14 hours. I think it was like 12 hours. 12 hours turned into 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours. And then I was able, like, if something was coming up to keep myself on track, say I was going to a concert after work, I would drive to the concert after work. There's nothing at the concert that I can have, really. I mean, they've got French fries and pizza, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
And we
I
can't
probably could
afford.
have found a burger patty or whatever, but I would have paid $30 for a burger patty.
Yeah, can't afford to
You
have a
know, and I was
diet
just like, it
pizza.
was easier just to fast. So
Keep
then
it
I would do like a 36-hour fast or a 48-hour fast as a mechanism for myself to stay on track. Because if I was going out and doing something like going to, like one of the first ones I did, we were going to see it was like Bush, Stone Temple Pilots, and whoever. Anyway, so I was there. It was summertime. I was like, I'll just fast through it. So then it was like, then I would push myself. Okay, can I do 72 hours? And then it was like, can I do 4 days? Can I do 5 days? Let me do 7 days. I remember the first time I was doing 7 days, and I was talking with at my job, the administrative assistant for the RVP, and she was like, "You're gonna die." She's like, "You're just gonna keel over dead." I'm like, "Really? Do you think so?" Because people have that idea that if you're fasting, you're probably just gonna die. Because I mean, the idea that what's been common knowledge of how to lose weight?
Yeah.
5, 6 small meals a day.
Yes. A
Keep
lot
your
of stuff.
metabolism up,
Yeah, keep your
right?
metabolism going.
Yeah.
Which does. It's just your metabolism has to keep burning in order to get rid of all the insulin that you're making.
Well, it's like when you're a big guy, people think you have a slow metabolism. But when I was big, 400 pounds, I was hot and sweaty all the time. Didn't matter if it was cold, didn't matter anything. That means your like I was a furnace. And then as I started doing the keto, like I would sit and like freeze to death. Like summertime in the office, I'd have to come in wearing pants and like I'd have a hoodie at work waiting for me because I'd just be freezing. I'd try to type, my hands are ice cold. So I think then your metabolism starts to slow down, but I was still losing weight.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
that's what it does on fast days. We notice that when we do a whole fast day, that all of a sudden you're just freezing.
yeah.
Or it's the
I'm
fact
not
that you're not, making heat to digest the food.
right. Now I'm not sure I'm not sure which one this is, if this is Chris or Anna, but they said that they have fasted 5 days a couple of times, and yes, your senses get better, your body will find the energy from body fat so you can get more food. Yeah. I mean, realistically, I never feel better than when I'm fasting, but that thing you're talking about, that 18-hour hump, like when you're going to bed, you've been fasting for maybe 18 hours or so, that
Mhm.
going to bed and you haven't eaten is one of the hardest struggles to overcome.
Yes.
So that's the hard, like going to bed that first night, you are 100% right. And I have that feeling too. You're laying in bed, and you're like, I'm hungry.
Yeah. It's like I'm eating myself.
Yeah. You're like, why? Or like when I start like a long fast that first night, I'm like, what have I done?
Yeah.
What have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, and then you wake up the next day and it's like a brand new day. Like, where's the pain? Where's you know what I mean? It's like your body's like, all right, let's go.
Yes. Vote for Pedro. Stone
Vote.
Mountain Adventures. Do we know? I don't know their name. Do you know their name? If
I'm
you
gonna
know
go.
your name, put it in the chat.
I'm gonna go with Stone until told otherwise.
Yes. That Ready Set Keto is in here too.
I know them jerks.
Yeah.
It's about time to wrap it up because 2KK starts in 11 minutes.
Yeah, we don't want to overlap them, and we know that Maitreya is also doing her thing too. So we'll let
It's
Jay.
Jay. It's
Thank
Jay.
you, Jay. It is difficult to kind of get to know everybody and remember everybody's names, and it'll probably just get harder as time goes on. But I will do my very best. I pledge that to try to remember everyone's names. Going to Chicago tonight. Exposing Darkness says she's going to meet Carrie from Homestead. That's pretty awesome.
Huh.
But I believe that this first episode of Saturday Sit Down was a success. Thank you, James.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
I need to get Emily on here in a couple of weeks. We'll get Emily to sit down, and I need to figure out who next week's guest is. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure as always to hang out with you.
Well, if you don't have a guest for next week, I can always find something. We can talk about donuts next week.
Oh yeah, for sure. Glazed, unglazed, yeast donuts, like sour cream donuts, whatever.
Yeah, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp grits,
shrimp and grits. Mm.
All right, you guys.
All right, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Thanks for waking up early. Thanks for hanging out with us. It does mean the world to me, and I'm sure it means at least something to James.
A little bit.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and all that fun stuff. And we'll see you next time.